point. Now we're smuggling out of Nigeria.
All right.
You know why we're smuggling out of Nigeria?
And why exactly?
Because Naira is now lower value. So it is cheaper for them to move things out of Nigeria and sell in Cotonou and sell in Niamey and sell in Abidjan than it is to sell in Nigeria. But then if we were producing, it would not be a problem.
So you see, one of the solutions now you are putting forward, I mean, is that if so long as we want Nigerian currency to stop free falling, is that we need to start producing.
We need to start producing. We need to start producing. We need to become a producing economy. We need to start generating wealth locally. When we start generating wealth locally, we become wealthy as a people. Because not only do we have a large population, 200 million of us, depending on whoever you listen to, bottom line, there are at least 70 million working Nigerians. Okay, that is bigger than most of the countries in Africa. I think the next largest country population in Africa is probably what? Is it Egypt or one of them? And they're not more than that. Okay, so it means you still have 70 million Nigerians that are capable of being producers. Okay, now if those guys are producing, we generate enough that we consume here, and we can now trade out the rest.
Exactly. I believe one of the important things that we should be looking at is the very recent Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope and housing and estate. What's your overall assessment on that? I mean, do you believe it will make a difference with regards to the housing deficit we're having in Nigeria?
Cold answer, no. Look, we need to stop this whole farce of government trying to do what private sector should be doing. Government's business should not be to build houses. In sane environments, government creates incentives and then opens a segment to the private sector and says, come and invest. I will make it worth your while. Private capital comes into that sector and delivers the goods. This old madness, and it is madness, it's a peculiarly Nigerian madness, and it is, as far as it's corruption, of trying to say, oh, you're going to build 2,000 houses, you're going to build 3,000 houses. Why must you build those houses? Private sector, look, we've had this same thing has been, it has been tried. President Obasanjo did it.
Yes.
It failed. I think the last person that did this thing and it worked was under Shagari Housing Estate. It was the last person that did this whole public housing thing and it worked. Every other government after that has failed, and this is also going to fail because government does not have unlimited resources. So government cannot, should not be engaging in direct construction. What government should be doing is create an enabling environment to make it possible for developers to begin to deploy and build. And let me tell you this. So I have had engagements with foreign investors. I know of at least 3 groups that told me they're ready to bring $100 million into Nigeria for housing. All they asked for was a purchase guarantee. That okay, if we bring in this money and we deploy this capital, can you guarantee us that it will be sold? Who are those that will buy it? And then once you can guarantee it will be sold, I can get us a letter from government saying that when we're ready to remit our money, they will not stop us. It was impossible to get it.
And why was that?
Why was that? Because everybody wants to corner the deal. And like I told, I don't
including the government.
Yes, now of course, everybody's looking out for themselves, not for the system. And I told somebody, I said, look, if I have $100 million today in Nigerian real estate, I can't use it alone. Put Cosgrove, Urban Shelter, Base and Armor, UPDC, LSDP, put everybody deployed in this country together. We will not expend $100 million in a year. And before you think I'm just making it up, family-owned funds raised over 100 billion in capital over 4 years ago. How much of it has been deployed? NMLC is sitting on 100 billion. How many bonds are there under? How many mortgage bonds are there underwritten? We're not creating supply.
Okay, now you identified these kind of programs that have been going on from administration to administration, because before President Bola Tinubu, former President Muhammadu Buhari was
he did his
he couldn't do anything. I don't think he was able to achieve anything significant.
I said they wanted to do 3 million naira, and I was one of those that I asked them that what planet were they planning to do 3 million naira house? Are they going to put infrastructure there, or they and it failed?
All right, we're going to look at it, this factor, one after the other when we come back from this short break. I'm going to hold you to that. Obviously, we're going to take a short break and we'll come back. The conversation continues. Do stay with us.
Thank you, AIHS, for the opportunity of this exhibition. It was a nice experience. I would like to make it again.
Thank you, AIHS. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, AIHS.
Thank you, AIHS.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.
And thank you for staying with us. And for those joining us, this is the Inside the Real Estate program brought to you by Housing TV Africa. We've been on with former director of the Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation, OPIC, Mr. Dide Odu Solu. Thank you so much for still being with us. Now, before we went on this break, we are talking about this issue of corruption that has been an obstacle to actualizing such as a project unveiled by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on trying to see that he has bring an end to the housing deficit in Nigeria. Could you shed more light on this corruption issue that's hitting this?
Okay, so let's start from this premise. I used to be the MD of OPIC. But before then, I ran my own development company called Octo5, and I'm still running Octo5 now. And what I can say is, I won't call it strictly corruption, more of waste. Okay, because if you look at what under President Buhari they tried to do with family-owned funds. Family-owned funds was meant to deliver social housing across Nigeria. What then happens? Most state governors basically used it as an opportunity for political advantage. So they put it in locations where people don't want the houses, and then the houses get built, and it's cows and goats and lizards that live in them. It's the same thing that always happens. So President Tinubu says he wants to do houses. He's gone to Karasana, and he's trying to put up 3,000 homes. Have you been to Karasana? Karasana basically doesn't have infrastructure. Okay, so are you telling
it's on the outskirts of the
outskirts? So essentially, the bulk of the people that you want to attract over there are not going to go over there. Now let's just suppose that against what used to happen when it worked. The Jakonde houses, the Shagari houses, the 1004s, the first tax. What did government do? Government went to those areas and put infrastructure and drew in people, and then they built houses. So they created homogeneous communities that could survive. So unless you're creating a model that delivers that, it's a failed project from the onset. Now the corruption bit then becomes job for the boys. Somebody gets a contract to do 100 homes. He's happy. He's going to deliver the homes. He doesn't care whether anybody is living in them. But government has tied that money that he cannot get back. Somebody else is going to get contract to deliver steel. Somebody else is going to get contract to do. So people is basically job for the boys. And while it's okay to want to give job to the boys, give job that creates value. Don't give jobs that don't create value. So if I were to advise the government, rather than government telling me they're trying to do 3,000 homes, I'd say government should create 3,000, not even 3,000, 36 development nodes across Nigeria. Let the Minister of Housing, that's Honorable Minister Dangiwa, and the Minister for Works, Honorable Minister Omai, let them collaborate, let them bring infrastructure to each of those nodes. Now, government can now say, okay, you know what, to draw people in, we're going to catalyze, we're going to give a mandate to Mr. X and Mr. Y, that's the job for the boys part, to do 200 homes here, 150 homes here, 50 homes there. So once they're doing that, we other developers see the value in the place, because now my cost has reduced by 25%. I'm not the one that's doing infrastructure. Marketing has reduced because government is already making us about the area. I don't bring in my capital and I deliver those homes. There are people in the police force that are looking for houses. There are people in the Nigerian military that are looking for houses. The vast bulk of civil servants don't have houses. There is demand. There is real demand for at least 3 million homes in Nigeria today. Why are they not being built?
Exactly.
And when you think about it, you rather than I don't know how many billions, 100 and something billion that they say they put aside for this scheme, rather than put that scheme into direct build, put that scheme into a development finance line and tell developers, okay, we'll give you this line at single digit interest, okay, or guaranteed at single digit interest. However, you must have a viable project. In your project, you must deliver 25% social housing, which we will take and do whatever we want with, and then you must do the rest at 75% affordable housing. Your homes must not be priced above this price point and that price point. Watch what happens. Now those developers will come in because they have to make money. They would not only deliver the project, they will make sure that they sell the project, because because they have to pay back the loan.
Exactly.
And when they pay back the loan, government doesn't lose money, which is what is going to happen in this case. Government doesn't waste money, which is what's going to happen in this case. Government creates jobs and creates value in all the 36 developments that will be created. Think about it. Every house that is built can create a minimum of 20 jobs to 40 jobs. Try and imagine the spill-on effect of creating 1 million jobs in the housing sector within the next 1 year. Oh, and by the way, all these projects that they want to do, guess where the tilers are going to come from? Guess where the electricians are going to come from? Guess where the plumbers are going to come from? They're not coming from Nigeria because we don't have the skills. They're going to come from Cotonou. They won't come from Togo.
But for many Nigerians, they will say they are initiating this kind of program so that we can be able to have most of our youth.
Good luck to you finding a tiler in Nigeria that can tile. That can tile very well. Unless you're not planning to tile. Good luck finding electricians that can do for that skill. So think about it. Imagine if, now we bring Ministry of Labour into it. Imagine if a apprenticeship scheme is created. And that apprenticeship scheme then says that as a developer, if you sign on to this scheme, part of what you've obligated to is to create 100 200 jobs of trained and certified artisans.
Yes.
By the end of that scheme, what you would have done, you would have created employment for over 1 million youths. You would have certified 1 million youths as professionals. When that project is finished, those 1 million youths can go out and begin to create jobs for them. So you are teaching them how to fish. You're not just giving them fish to eat. That's what this is.
Yes, I think while you are on this topic, and I believe a lot of Nigerians want to see how you will land on some of the but while the time is not on our side, let us take a look at the recent appointment made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because a lot of young Nigerians saying the mortgage system is not working, Federal Housing Authority is not functioning well, and then one of the
FHA is supposed to be the land bank of federal government. Almost all their land banks have been encroached. Almost all their lands have either been stolen or hijacked, or you have all sorts of malfeasance going on there. Now, whoever has that job, the first assignment you should have is go and do a land audit. Confirm how many acres of land, acreages do we still have? Where are they located? What is their status? What is, how valuable are those land banks? And there's a lot that needs to be done. Now, a good team has been put there in FHA. Architect EA Talk is also part of the team. They have a work order for them, and they should focus on it and get it done. To me, it's immaterial that it's in-law. Okay, and the man used to be in the House of Reps, if I'm not mistaken. I think was there for a time or two. So he must have something of value to bring to the table, you know. So I believe that somebody like that with political will actually should be able to do the necessary overhaul that FHA requires urgently if what we're talking about, delivering housing, can become a reality. That's FHA. Federal Mortgage Bank, that one is a basket case. Federal Mortgage Bank also needs an overhaul. Now, I think Malam Oshiri, who is now the MD, he's been part of the system. He knows how things work. He should be able to go into that bank and restructure it. Listen, there is no reason we have a Federal Mortgage Bank that controls NHF. NHF is where everybody who wants to get housing cheap is putting money in on a monthly basis. There's no reason why an agency that controls NHF cannot create mortgages. How many mortgages did the Federal Mortgage Bank create last year? I mean, they created 5 years ago. It's an indictment of us. So the FMBN needs to be recapitalized, but the first thing that needs to be done, it needs to be overhauled, it needs to be restructured, it needs to be made efficient so that it can raise bonds. Those bonds can be used to fund a lot of these things we're talking about. Okay, I mean, my brother, I think Ken Ogidemi is still at NMLC. He's been sitting down on a lot of money for a while, but under his the law setting him up, he can't give money directly to the market. He has to only buy back mortgages. So there's a lot of synergy, opportunity for synergy between NMLC and FMBN that the government needs to work on and make work. And I believe that the Honorable Minister for Housing, being one of us,
member of HDAC. I mean, it's very important for us to understand because you've been sharing a lot of light when we are
all in the same network. The Housing Development Advocacy Group of Nigeria is one of us. I mean, these guys are all part of us, and they know that someone like me, I'm always eating them with these facts. I mean, there's so many things that need to be done, but the first thing that also needs to happen, and President Tinubu has a unique advantage. He was a governor in Lagos. He knows how we do it in Lagos. I mean, the popular saying used to be that land was the oil of Lagos. Lagos was not the one building the houses. We developers were the ones building it now. But Lagos was making plenty of money off of us. There's no reason why the same man that did that well in Lagos is now coming to Abuja and says he wants to do 3,000, and how many houses does he say he wants to start building?
And why do you think he decided to follow a different path when he knows what happened back then in Lagos?
Maybe I'm wrong, and I will apologize if I am, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a job for the boys. It's just a job for the boys' king, and it should die. They should perish the thoughts. They should overhaul it. There's no reason why we have a minister like Mr. Wale Edu, who is a fantastic gentleman, and he's sitting there and he's hearing that they're going to burn 150 billion naira doing homes that are likely not going to see the light of the day at the end of the day, and he's championing it. If he's behind it or not, I don't know who's behind it. I don't know, but clearly he's sitting down there and he's hearing them. What they should be doing is they should be creating bonds, and like you're saying it, there is serious money that wants to come into this sector.
Exactly.
There is serious money that wants to come into this sector. There is no amount of money that the federal government wants to spend that the private sector cannot outspend it. But the system itself is dysfunctional. The structures are non-existent. Exit is not clarified, and so serious capital is not going to come.
So if government, suffice to say, if government will focus their attentions in real estate development by providing an enabling environment, even the issue of insecurity,
it will disappear. Listen, if I go to let's pick one of the states that's currently plagued. Is it Niger? You have Niger State, you have Nasarawa State, you have Katsina. These are all challenge states. Imagine if there's a bond scheme that says, as a developer, if I go to Katsina and create a farm plantation, I'm just giving showing things out there that value at 10 billion. I can raise single-digit interest and put that development in there, and I can go in there and create that thing. All the people that are looking to export things from there, they will come to that place. And they will set up. It's not rocket science. All right. It's been done in other locations.
I believe for the past 45 minutes we've been deliberating on all of these public systemic issues. Now let's use the remaining minutes. What solutions? What are the way forward?
I think there's Nigeria. The upside is really much. I will end where I started. We need to become a producing economy. We need to create jobs. We need to create a system that makes it possible to build up skills. Now, all of that means that the Ministry of Labor and Employment, the Ministry of Housing, the Ministry of Works, the Ministry of Finance have to work together to create that enabling environment, and then bring in the private sector. You see, because it's only Nigeria is one of the few top 40 economies I know that does not look at the housing sector as a barometer of the health of its economy. In every other country, they talk about what the housing sector is doing, how it's doing, mortgages. We don't even do mortgages in this country. So there's a lot of room. The way I look at Nigeria and look at housing in Nigeria is the same way banking was in the 80s and the same way telecommunications was in the 90s. There's a huge opportunity. There's huge room for growth. And I'm praying that this particular administration, which has a forward-looking persona, would be able to grasp it and not go back and be making the mistakes of the past.
All right. Former manager Mr. Jide Odusolu.
I'm the MD of Occupied Holdings Limited.
We mentioned I think it's very important. Yes, we'll identify that. No problem. All right, Mr. Jide Odusolu is the former managing director of the Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation, OPIC. He is also the founder and CEO of Octa 5 Real Estate, one of the leading and innovative real estate in Nigeria. I mean, he likes to, for us to identify that. He's also an esteemed member of Housing Advocacy Network, HZAT. Mr. Jide, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
My pleasure.
Yes, and we're glad to have you join us again.
Thank you.
All right. Let's be real. We're going to round off now, and I believe you enjoyed the conversation because it's been very engaging and been brainstorming on all of these issues that we have been bedeviling with. Join us on another episode where I'll bring you on another interesting topic of enlightenment. My name is Abdurrahman Omar, saying goodbye for now.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news. Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.
Hello and welcome. Here is the news update on Housing TV Africa. I am Ben Dodo Oche. A quick look at the headlines. Shehu Usman Osidi resumes officially as Managing Director of Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. Lagos government to crack down on exorbitant house rent. CBN raises customs duty exchange rate to 1,493 naira 23 kobo despite previous slash. Now the news in detail. The newly appointed Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, Shehu Usman Osidi, has resumed officially as the new Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. The handover ceremony took place at the FMBN headquarters in Abuja, marking a pivotal movement for the institution. Maimuna Bagudu has more details.
The newly appointed Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Shehu Usman Osidi, has resumed officially as the new Managing Director of the bank.
As someone who has once been an insider with many of my former colleagues here, I understand the importance of teamwork and cooperation in achieving our organizational goals. Now more than ever, as we navigate the complexities of our industry and strive to meet the evolving needs of our stakeholders, it is imperative that we stand together as a cohesive team. I am committed to running an open, transparent and accountable administration in an atmosphere where teamwork, innovation, professionalism, excellence and staff well-being shall thrive.
Accompanying Osidi in steering the FMBN to new heights are three executive directors. Ibidapo Odojukan assumes the position of Executive Director responsible for Finance and Corporate Services. Mohammed Sani Abdu steps into the role of Executive Director overseeing Loans and Mortgage Services. Chinyere Anosike takes charge as the Executive Director of Business Development and Portfolios. The outgoing Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of FMBN, Mr. Madu Haman, gave his utmost assurance to assist the newly appointed Managing Director and CEO of the bank in moving the institution to a more greater height.
Under the new leadership, I have the belief that together we will continue to adapt, innovate, and thrive in the face of the new challenges and opportunities that the current realities present. I urge all of you to remain steadfast and to extend the same level of cooperation and commitment to the ideals of FMBN as you have extended to my team and I.
Maimuna Bagudu reporting for Housing TV Africa.
In a recent development, the Lagos state government has issued a stern warning to homeowners who inflate rental fees. The Lagos State Commissioner for Housing, Moruf Akinderu Fatai, emphasized the government's commitment to penalizing those engaged in exploitative rental practices. The government aims to provide affordable housing for Lagosians and will revoke allocations from those found culpable. The Central Bank of Nigeria has made a surprising move in adjusting the exchange rate for custom duties at the nation's seaports, just a day after reducing the rate, increasing it by 1.4%. According to the official trade portal of the Nigeria Customs Service, duty rate has been adjusted from 1,472 naira 756 kobo per dollar to 1,493 naira per dollar, which has been effective since February 17, 2024. This marks a 1.4% increment in the customs duty rates, with an increase of 20 naira 474 kobo compared to the previous exchange rate. We will go on a quick break to return with more stories. Stay with us.
Thank you AIHS for the opportunity of this exhibition. It was a nice experience. I would like to make it again.
Thank you AIHS. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, AIHS.
Thank you, AIHS.
Welcome back, and now to other developments. A community in Lagos can finally celebrate the end of a 35-year legal battle over ownership of a vast expanse of land spanning 11.370 hectares in Igbo Eshinshin, Ologunebi village, Alimosho area of Lagos State. On Friday, amidst the presence of sheriffs and court bailiffs, the rightful owner took possession of the land, marking the conclusion of a lengthy legal saga. This decision came after the Supreme Court dismissed a notice of appeal filed by Oba Sule Odo-Alabe, representing himself and the Odo-Alabe and Ajasa family. The resolution brings closure to decades of uncertainty and paves the way for the community to move forward with newfound clarity regarding land ownership. On the foreign scene, Kenyan President William Ruto has implored members of the parliament to hasten the passage of the Affordable Housing Bill 2023 so that he can sign it into law, promising that it will help create employment. Speaking during his visit to Nyeri County on Friday, President Ruto said the proposed law should not face any hurdles as it will help thousands of youths get jobs in the housing project. That brings us to the end of the news update. Before we go, a quick recap of the major stories. Shehu Usman Osidi has resumed officially as the new Managing Director of the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. We also told you that the Lagos State government has issued a stern warning to homeowners who inflate rental fees. For more news in the housing sector, do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Housing TV Africa. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at Housing TV Africa. I am Ben Dodo Oche. Thanks for watching.
TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.
Hello, we are right here at Abuja 30 village, popularly known as 1000 units. We are here to really see how the people here are surviving. We believe, when you're coming in, you will not even know that people are living here, but we're about to listen to them to know what they are going through, how they're able to survive in a place like this. Join me as we enjoy this journey.
Taking a tour of Abuja, little will you know that there's a place called Abuja 30 Village, a small resettlement properly documented under Amak local government area. Was initiated by former FCT Minister Nasir El-Rufai in 2006. Today we delve into the stories of those residents, exploring both the positives and the challenges they face. We spoke with Mrs. Juliana, a tailor deeply affected by the prevalent issues in the community.
I've stayed in this community, Peggy community, Abuja at 30 for the past close to 10 years, since 2015, if I'm not mistaken. So the insecurity here, seriously, we need government to do something about it, because I can't go out to Kuje town and come back around 7 without fear. So everything is not going nowhere, and you can see our road. Our road is very bad. The development, like I'm a fashion designer, and you can see the way my shop is. And because of the structure of the shop, people don't come to patronize. They feel a shop like this don't have good things in it, and because I sew, they look down on me simply because of the structure of the shop. So we need government to do something about it. We can't just go out to Kuje, and I can't go to Kuje and get shop. If I'm coming back, the insecurity, it won't be safe for me. So our children are in school and we are living in fear. So once our children go to school, which time will they close because of all this insecurity, all this kind? The vigilantes are here, but quite okay. Many things are happening. There are things happening that they are hiding it. So we just need government to do something about it for us. We do have, but things are happening and they won't say. Things are really happening, but they won't speak out. They always cover it up. We are living in fear, honestly. We are living in fear.
Community Association Chairman Mr. Taiwo Aderiwe shares his historical background of Abuja 30 village and sheds light on the challenges faced by the community.
Peggy Estate Community Development Association is registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission in the year 2012 by my predecessors, the elders of the community. The resettlement is a creation of the Federal Capital Administration under the tenure of His Excellency Malam Ahmed Nasir El-Rufai, when the inhabitants of Idugwagwa Karimu, Aleta, Piwe and Apo were resettled to this community. By the way, the growing population of the community is between 17 to 18,000. The demography of the community is more of the youthful population between the ages of 14 and 49. However, the community have been living on its own, a country of its own, a state of its own, a local government of its own. When you see the power lines around here before NEPA and PHCN was liquidated and privatized to what we have as the distribution company, transmission company and distribution companies now, the residents took it upon themselves to grade roads to their plots when the Department of Development Control under AMMC of the Federal Capital Territory failed in their responsibility. Skeletal services were being operated here. Residents took it upon themselves when we had just one regional office and area office in Gwagwalada to travel down to Gwagwalada, apply for power to be stepped down and network to each street and so. By the way, the community is divided into 6 zones, starting from zone A, sub-zone B, we are in C, which is the central, E and D, and Abuja at 30 quarters. Abuja at 30 was conceived then under Malam Nasir El-Rufai in the year 2006 to commemorate the anniversary of Abuja in the year 2006, which was established in year 1976 at 30. And we have the Abuja at 30 village, which you must have you took note of on your right. That is the housing unit which is numbering about 479 in room and parlor, as well as 2-bedroom blocks of flats. But it's unfortunate that the 1,000 units is yet to be completed about almost 20 years down the line. It is a lack of continuity that caused the setback of that project. Abuja Investment Company, an agency under the Federal Capital Territory, is responsible for the development of the markets and the completion of that project. Peggy community, it's strategically located. We are the heartbeat. Kuje, by the way, when you check through your Google map, Kuje is the center of the FCT, the largest in landmass, neighboring the 5 other area councils and estates as well. Nasarawa to the south of it. It is unfortunate that Peggy, being the heartbeat, it's like an island, has suffered so much neglect from successive governments after Malam Nasir El-Rufai.
Beyond the voices of the residents, we inquired about the state of healthcare in the community.
The healthcare system, there is a health center somewhere down there under the General Hospital in Kuje town. So the healthcare system, the healthcare center functions normally only that. The community also tries to augment the government effort by engaging in some community projects to develop the health center. But there's a health center catering for the immediate health issues in this area.
Mr. Adamu Emmanuel shares insights into the responsiveness of the local healthcare facility.
Yes, it's effective. There are other private healthcare centers, hospitals, clinics, pharmaceutical outfits that are private, but the government operated health center is the one I'm talking about.
However, the roads seem to pose a significant challenge, as witnessed by this man repairing his tricycle due to damage caused by the unmotorable roads. Mrs. Aminat, a regular viewer of our weekly housing development program, provides further insights into this situation.
Okay, the situation of this place, the challenging we are having here is this road. This road is very badly, in fact, even the rainy season time, nobody can pass through this side. Even car is finding it difficult to pass, because if we even go to Kuje, example, we go to Kuje, so before we can go to Kuje, in fact, the transport is too high because of this our road. Then coming back, we didn't find it easy at all. So please, government should look into it for us. We are finding it difficult very well, because even water, this is only community water we have here, no any other one. The one we have before down there, it has spoiled, nobody came to do it, so it's only this one, and it's all this community. We normally pay money so that it will not go, it will not spoil. So please, we need water, we need road. We need road. The road is too bad for us.
Mrs. Amina told us more about the community's improper waste management system.
Honestly, you see those bins, because no any place we can throw waste bin, and deep inside there, people, people, they will not go to the inside and drop waste bin. They will just drop it around the road. So it's not hygienic, but no, you cannot talk to many people just like that. They will just come. Some people will be on the car and throw it on the road. That is it.
Thank you.
Another resident, Mrs. Joy, echoes the sentiments of many, expressing concerns about basic communities not functioning as they should.
The major issue we are having here, number one, is insecurity. So almost all the time, all these herdsmen, because you can see we are being surrounded by hills. So they are now taking the advantage of the hills, to adopt people. At times, if you say, let us be coming in time, because of at times they will be on the road, they will now be coming house to house, which is unbearable. So there's one family like that. They adopted their ladies, their girls. So and they now discover that the ransom amount they say they should pay, that they don't have it, and they are now going house to house to pick money. So by the time they discovered it, that they are begging, they say, okay, you people are begging, you don't even have the money, which means, I don't know whether they thought that we that are located here almost how many years now by Erufai, our house has been demolished for the past, let's say, roughly 18 to 20 years now, and no enough infrastructure, no good road, because even the road, they are taking advantage of the road to attack us. So we are calling to the government to come to our aid and help us.
Infrastructural deficit is what I have on here. Yes, we appreciate the government to have modeled this layout for residents to have a better living, away from the slum kind of living. We appreciate that as residents and as citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but it's unfortunate that there is no commitment from successive administration, and there are so many ungoverned space. When you look at the topography of these people, are surrounded by hills and rocks. These are the ungoverned space that criminality strive more. Let me also apprise you with this information that the only naval barracks, I'm not talking of officers' quarters, naval barracks is located here in Peggy, which has also given prospective estate developers that sense of belongingness and safety to come invest here. When you have a military institution, an Abuja Atati, as well as other proposed institution of governments to make life easy and meaningful for the dwellers. But it's a departure from the positives. We in Peggy took it upon ourselves to grade our roads, to drill our borehole, we provide water for ourselves, we pay for the electric poles and the reclaim wires, and pay for the services also. And we've been living quietly, communally, until managing pockets of burglary, which usually happens when residents go to their place of worship, which is also always on a Sunday. But in the year 2018, the surge of criminality and other felons begin to knock at our gates. There are two exits, by the way, we are making use of into the community through the bush paths. We call that a dreaded bush path to zone A and B, and the one through Abuja Ateti is the 1,000 unit road. which was awarded in the year 2011 with a 9-month completion period. That's the last span, but that has spent over a decade, almost 20 years. The project is yet to hit a kilometer. I say this with all sense of responsibility and dignity as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In year 2018, by the bush parts, precisely on the 4th and 5th of December 2018, the kidnappers struck. 9 persons were kidnapped. 1 was abandoned to die, suffered a very, very, very serious gunshot injury, Mr. Moshood Atonda. Ransom was demanded and paid to secure the release of those 9 persons. It became a wake-up call. In October 7, 2019, there was another kidnap incident where a civil defense senior officer suffered gunshot injury but died from the complication of that gunshot injury. A week after, some persons were kidnapped. Ransom was paid as well. The number this time is sketchy. We had to repose the confidence in residents to speak up when we realized that about 6 persons were kidnapped. 1 managed to escape, 5 paid ransom. Ransom ranged between the sum of 100,000 to millions of naira to secure their release.
Prevalent security issues limit the progress of a community like this, but addressing these security issues is crucial for fostering a resilient and trustworthy community.
We staged a protest on the 9th of October, which was the first of its kind in the FCT, a peaceful protest. When Malam Bello Musa Mohammed was the Honorable Minister, and Ramatu Tijani Aliu was the Honorable Minister of State. It was streamed live by pressmen and became the talk of the town. Leaders of the protests were invited. We turned it down. What are prayers? Construct the road, complete the road you've abandoned for over a decade, then in 2019. We are not asking for too much as citizens, because we cannot afford Maitama, Life Camp, and all the where you refer to as the city centers. Civil servants who have served this country for onward of 20 to 35 years, retired directors and permanent secretary are residents here who have given their youthful age and productivity to this community, are here languishing penury and underdevelopment. Is this how we give back to our heroes? It's quite unfortunate. After the protest, the Minister of State paid a visit on the 14th of October and made the political statement that the road would continue. Yes, this renew the hope for better days ahead then, but it turned into worst situations, because the contractor not only returned to site but managed to complete just 1 kilometer you drive through when coming.
To salvage their security issues at night, we inquired about street light, and this is what she had to say.
In that street light, just like that, one day they just came and put either it's like 6 poles and it's solar, and none of them is working now. At the time they mounted it, it was working, but none of them is working now. Even the road, there was a time they graded the road, nothing. So That's just the major problem we are facing. So another one is our crops. When you farm, they will just come and Fulanis will just come and scatter it. By the time you talk, they will just mess that person up. It's a lot. Can you imagine a lady like that was coming back from lesson because of the phone they are dragging from that girl? They have to cut off that girl's arm in order to collect the phone. So we are just begging. They then locate us.
We made a stop at the school in the community, although the school had told us that a lot of structures are already being developed by the government, which connotes a sign of hope.
The developments ongoing in this particular resettlement known as Peggy resettlement, but ceremonially known as Abuja 30 village. See, this place has been in existence since 2006 under the administration of the former FCT minister, His Excellency Nasir El-Rufai. And you can see all that has been going on in this place, but there's still something. We still have bad roads here. We still have some structures that are abandoned due to insecurity. We are calling on the government to please come to our rescue, to come to the rescue of the people in this residence and see what they could come up for them. Some people don't have light, some have water, some don't have water. We believe that the government could come to their rescue. Reporting from Abuja 30 village, Brown Mike Ebo for Housing TV Africa.
Housing